The film we are discussing today contains many hidden details that most people miss upon the first viewing. I will explain not just the story, but also the reasoning behind every significant scene. 20,000 years ago, Europe looked nothing like it does today. There were no cities, no roads, no schools. There were only vast open lands, freezing winters, and dangerous wild animals everywhere. People lived in tribes and survived by hunting together. Life was hard, brutal, and short, but even in this world, a story of friendship, courage, and survival was about to begin, a story that would change everything. Our story begins with a young boy named Keda. He belongs to a small tribe of hunters who live and survive together. His father, Tao, is the leader of the tribe, a strong, experienced, and respected man. Keda loves his father deeply and wants nothing more than to make him proud. But there is a problem. Keda is not like the other hunters. He is gentle. He feels things deeply. While the other men are tough and fearless, Keda leads with his heart. And in this world, that is seen as a weakness. 1 week before our main story begins, the teenagers of the tribe are given an important test. They have to show their spear-making skills to the elders. Only the best will be chosen to join the last great hunting expedition before winter arrives. Out of all the teenagers, only 2 pass the test. Keda and his best friend Kappa. This is a huge honor. Being chosen means they are no longer children. They are becoming men. As part of this important ritual, the 2 boys go through a ceremony by the fire. The tribe's shaman blesses them. The older men of the tribe also beat them, not out of cruelty, but as a lesson. Pain will always be part of life. The sooner you accept it, the stronger you become. That same night, Keda cannot sleep. He lies quietly and listens as his parents talk nearby. His mother, Ro, is worried. She tells Tao that Keda is not ready. He leads with his heart, not his spear. In the wild, that kind of thinking can get you killed. But Tao disagrees. He says every man must prove himself. Keda must do his part. He is stronger than even he knows. Keda hears all of this, but says nothing. He closes his eyes and carries those words with him into sleep. The next morning, the hunting party prepares to leave. The tribe gathers to say goodbye. Ro hugs Keda tightly and slips an extra piece of fur into his hands, a small token to keep him warm and safe. Keda holds it close to his heart. He knows his mother believes in him, even if she is scared. The group sets off across the land, following what the tribe calls the sacred path. Long ago, their ancestors carved this route into the earth through a series of rock sculptures. Each sculpture has hand paintings on it pointing in the direction of the next one. By following these markers, the hunters can always find their way to the hunting grounds and back home again. It is their map, their guide, and their connection to those who came before them. During the journey, the group comes across another hunting party. Their leader is Shi, an old friend of Tao's. Shi has recently lost his own son, and the grief is written all over his face. Despite the sadness, both groups decide to travel together. There is safety in numbers. Along the way, Keda keeps trying to prove himself. He wants his father to look at him with pride, but nothing seems to go right. When the group needs to start a fire, Keda struggles and fails. When the men catch a wild boar and expect Keda to deliver the killing blow, he freezes. He cannot bring himself to do it. The animal looks at him and something inside Keda stops his hand. The other hunters shake their heads. Keda feels like a failure. One night, while the men sit around a fire eating and resting, they hear a strange sound in the darkness behind them. Everyone jumps up immediately, gripping their spears, eyes searching the shadows. A few tense seconds pass. Nothing appears. The men relax and start to laugh it off. That is a terrible mistake. A massive cave lion explodes out of the darkness and snatches Kappa, Keda's best friend, right off the ground. Before anyone can react, the lion disappears into the night with Kappa in its jaws. The men shout and chase, but it is too late. Kappa is gone. The next morning, the group builds a small stone memorial for Kappa. In their culture, this cairn represents the passing of a person's spirit into the afterlife. Keda stares at it, heartbroken. His best friend is dead, and the journey has barely begun, but the hunt must continue. They push forward. Days pass. They walk, hunt small animals for food, and rest when they must. One evening, they find a large cave, wide enough and deep enough to sleep in safely. Tao uses this moment to do something special. He takes Keda's hand and gives him a tattoo of the constellations, the same stars that are tattooed on Tao's own hand. He tells Keda that no matter where he is, no matter how lost he feels, these stars will always guide him home. It is a father's greatest gift to his son. After many more days of travel, the group finally spots what they came for, a massive herd of steppe bison grazing on the open land. Tao immediately begins organizing the hunt. The plan is simple but dangerous. The hunters form a long wall of spears and shout and bang and make as much noise as possible. The terrified bison run, straight toward a cliff. They stampede off the edge, falling to their deaths below. It is brutal, but effective. That is how survival works. But 3 bison do not follow the herd. They stay back, and one enormous bull, massive, furious, and full of rage, sets its eyes directly on Keda. The bull charges. It hits Keda with its horns, throwing him through the air. Then it drags him by his clothing toward the edge of the cliff. Tao sees his son and screams, launching his spear at the beast. The spear hits, but it is already too late for Keda. He reaches out desperately for something to hold on to, but his fingers slip. Keda falls over the edge. Tao screams his son's name. He rushes to the edge and looks down, but all he can see is the steep cliff face and the valley far below. The other hunters grab Tao and pull him back. They point downward and shake their heads. It is too late. No one survives a fall like that. The men spend time loading the bison onto sleds. When it is time to divide the hunt, Shi's group takes their share and heads home. Tao's group camps one final night before leaving. Everyone urges Tao to accept what happened and move on. They cannot stay forever. The following morning, Tao builds a cairn for Keda at the edge of the cliff, a stone memorial, just like the one they built for Kappa. Tears fall down his face as he places each stone. Then, with a broken heart, he turns and leads his group home. The cliff is silent. Hours pass. Nothing moves. Then, a vulture lands on Keda's body and begins picking at him. Keda's eyes snap open. He is alive. He grabs the vulture and wrings its neck, pushing it away. He blinks and looks around. He is lying on a narrow ledge partway down the cliff, not at the bottom, but far from the top. His leg is badly broken and throbbing with pain. He is alone. He has no food, no fire, no father. Slowly, painfully, Keda tries to climb down the cliff face, but the rock is too smooth. There are not enough edges to grab onto. He hangs there, fingers aching, body trembling, for what feels like forever. Then the sky turns dark and a storm rolls in. Rain hammers the cliff. Water begins rising below him. Keda realizes there is only one option. He lets go. He falls into the floodwater below and loses consciousness again. When he wakes up, the storm is over. The water is gone. He is lying on the wet ground, still alive. He crawls to a small puddle and drinks. He finds straight sticks and ties them carefully around his broken leg to create a makeshift splint. Then, slowly and painfully, he begins climbing back up the cliff, this time from a different angle where there are more handholds. It takes everything he has, but he makes it to the top. He finds the cairn his father built for him. He stares at it for a long moment. Then, in a rush of pain and anger and loneliness, he kicks it apart. He is not dead, but he is completely alone. His tribe is gone. His father thinks he is dead, and he has to find his way home before winter arrives. So Keda starts walking. He eats whatever he can find: bugs, roots, anything edible. He fills his water container from small puddles. He climbs trees to sleep at night, staying out of reach of the predators that roam the land below. Every step forward on his splinted leg is agony, but he keeps moving. Then, one afternoon, a pack of wolves finds him. Keda runs. He dives for the nearest tree and scrambles up just in time. Except one wolf grabs his leg before he gets out of reach. Keda stabs it hard with his knife. The wolf lets go. Keda pulls himself up into the branches and sits there, breathing hard, watching the wolves circle below. He waits. Eventually, one by one, the wolves give up and walk away. All of them except one, the wolf Keda stabbed. It lies on the ground, whimpering and whining in pain, unable to leave. Keda looks down at it. He picks up his spear. He could finish it right now. That would be the smart thing to do. The safe thing. The hunter's thing. He cannot do it. The wolf's crying is too painful to listen to. It sounds too much like suffering. And Keda, who leads with his heart, cannot ignore suffering, even in an enemy. He climbs down from the tree. Carefully, he ties a piece of cloth around the wolf's snout so it cannot bite him. Then he picks the animal up and carries it to the nearest lake. He washes the wound gently. He cleans it as best he can, but they cannot stay by the lake. He can hear hyenas nearby. So he picks the wolf up again and carries it until they find a cave where they can sleep safely through the night. In the morning, Keda finds an old stone mortar near some animal bones inside the cave. He grinds up some plants and makes a simple healing paste. He applies it carefully to his own injured leg. While he does this, the wolf manages to free its snout from the cloth wrapping. Keda freezes, expecting an attack. The wolf just looks at him. Slowly, Keda holds out his water container. The wolf growls low, but after a long moment, it leans forward and drinks. That is progress. Over the following days, Keda shares everything he has with the wolf. He cleans its wound using the fur his mother gave him, the most precious thing he owns. He shares the worms he digs up from the ground. He treats the wolf not as a wild animal, but as a patient, as a companion. But worms are not enough food for either of them. Keda knows he needs to do something he has been afraid to do. He has to hunt. He picks up a rock. He waits. He throws. A rabbit falls. Keda stares at it for a second, then lets out a long breath. He did it, and for the first time since he was separated from his tribe, he manages to start a fire. He cooks the rabbit and eats, making sure to eat first and feed the wolf second. He remembers what his father taught him about leadership. You must always establish who is in charge, not through cruelty, but through consistency. The wolf watches him carefully, understanding this new order between them. Day by day, trust grows between the boy and the wolf. Keda begins training the wolf to respond to a whistle, a sharp, clear sound that brings the animal running to his side. Their early attempts at hunting together are clumsy and confused, but they keep trying, and slowly, beautifully, they begin to work together. Keda flushes out the prey, the wolf cuts off its escape, they eat well. At night, Keda checks his direction using the constellation tattoo on his hand, the one his father gave him. The stars guide him just like Tao promised they would, and the wolf begins sleeping closer and closer each night until one morning Keda wakes up with the wolf curled warmly against his back. After a quiet afternoon spent swimming and fishing in a lake, Keda makes a decision. He looks at the wolf lying beside him in the last light of the sun and gives it a name. Alpha. Winter is coming fast. Keda can feel it in the air. The temperature drops sharply every night. He has to move quickly. One evening while they sit by a fire, a whole pack of wolves appears out of the darkness. Keda reaches for his spear, then stops. He looks at Alpha. Alpha is staring at the other wolves. His tail is moving slowly. These are not strangers. These are his family. Keda thinks about what it feels like to miss the people you love. He thinks about his father, his mother, his tribe. He looks at Alpha and tells the wolf to go. Go be with your family. Alpha hesitates. Then he walks toward the pack. They accept him immediately, and Keda is alone again. He keeps walking. The days grow shorter. Snow begins to fall. Progress becomes harder and harder. Some days the snowstorms are so bad that Keda barely moves at all. One night, he dreams about the moment his father arrived home without him. Tao's face filled with grief as he tells Ro that their son is gone. Ro breaking apart at the news. Keda wakes up from the dream feeling hollow inside, but he keeps going. One morning, crossing a frozen lake, Keda spots Alpha with the pack. His heart lifts. He runs toward them across the ice. The ice cracks. He plunges into the freezing black water below. The cold hits him like a wall. His mother's fur floats away. His equipment sinks. He is going under. Then Alpha is there, digging at the ice above him, barking, pulling. Keda drives his knife into the ice and breaks a hole large enough for Alpha to grip his clothing and drag him out. He lies on the ice, soaking and shaking violently. Alpha lies down next to him immediately, pressing warm fur against his freezing body. That night, Keda sleeps with Alpha wrapped around him, slowly pulling warmth back into his bones. They travel together again now, just the two of them. After a few more days, they follow a set of tracks through the snow and find a small shelter. But the person who built it has frozen to death inside. There is no food, but Keda finds a bow and a set of arrows, a real hunting weapon. He takes it. Alpha begins acting strangely, watching Keda with worried eyes. Keda notices but does not understand why. Then he feels it, a deep, wet cough rising in his chest. He spits and sees blood. He is getting sick. And winter is getting worse. One day the situation becomes truly desperate. Behind them, hyenas are following their tracks, drawn by the smell of blood. Ahead of them, a massive blizzard is building on the horizon. Running is the only option. They run until they find a cave and dive inside. But the cave is not empty. A cave lion is already inside. It was resting. Now it is angry. It roars and launches itself at them. Alpha charges at the lion without hesitation, snarling, biting, fighting with everything he has to protect Keda. The cave fills with the sounds of the battle. Keda raises the bow. His hands are shaking. The lion and Alpha are moving fast, tangled together. He has to wait for exactly the right moment. One wrong shot and he hits Alpha. He waits, he breathes, he shoots. The arrow flies true. The lion drops. Alpha is alive, but badly hurt. Deep wounds cover his side and legs. He can barely walk. Keda kneels beside him in the snow outside the cave, pressing his hands against the wounds, trying to slow the bleeding. They move slowly now, very slowly, but Keda refuses to give up. Then one afternoon he sees it, one of the ancient rock sculptures carved by his ancestors, a marker on the sacred path. He is close to home. His heart beats faster. That night the northern lights appear in the sky above them, green and gold waves of light dancing silently in the darkness. Keda stares at them, and for the first time in a long time, he feels like maybe everything will be all right. He feels his ancestors around him guiding him forward, but Alpha cannot go on. The wolf collapses in the snow. He is too weak to take another step. His wounds are too deep. He is too cold. Keda stands over him for a moment. Then he bends down, slides his arms under Alpha's body and picks him up. He starts walking. He is sick. He is starving. His leg aches with every step, but he walks. His arms shake under Alpha's weight, but he does not put him down. He coughs blood into the snow and keeps moving. He thinks about his father's words, the words he overheard that night so long ago. Keda is stronger than even he knows. He falls. He lies in the snow, unable to move. The cold presses down on him. Alpha lies beside him, still breathing but barely. This could be the end. Then the memory comes to him, sharp and clear. His father's voice in the dark, telling his mother not to worry, telling her that their son is stronger than he knows, telling her to have faith. Keda opens his eyes. He gets up. He picks up Alpha. He walks. And then, through the snow and the wind, he sees it. The lights of the tribe, the tents, the fires, home. He stumbles into the camp. People stare in disbelief. A murmur of shock spreads through the tribe. This cannot be real. This boy was dead. The cairn was built. The grief was mourned. And then Tao sees him. The great hunter, the strong, fearless leader of the tribe, breaks completely. He runs to his son and wraps his arms around him, shaking with tears. He tells Keda he is proud of him, the proudest he has ever been of anyone in his life. They bring Keda and Alpha inside a warm tent. Keda is cleaned and bandaged and fed, and then the tribe's shaman kneels beside Alpha and examines the wolf carefully. The shaman looks up with a quiet smile. Alpha is not dying. Alpha is female, and she is giving birth. One by one, small warm puppies arrive into the world, healthy, strong, and full of life. Keda watches with wide eyes and a huge smile on his exhausted face. The tribe gathers around, looking at the puppies with wonder and warmth. These animals are not enemies. They are not prey. They are something new entirely. They are family. Years pass. The puppies grow into strong, healthy adult wolves. And the tribe discovers something remarkable. When wolves and hunters work together, they are far more effective than either could ever be alone. The wolves can track, chase, and corner prey in ways that humans never could. And the hunters can protect and care for the wolves in ways the wolves cannot manage on their own. So when the next great hunt arrives, the last expedition before the next winter, the hunters do not go alone anymore. Each hunter walks out with a wolf by his side. And it all began with a boy who led with his heart, a wolf who needed help, and a bond that neither of them expected. How did you like this story of the wolf and the boy? Please let us know in the comments.